Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Hescox back teaching your class of 7A Life Science for this year. We're going to continue on in Chapter 1. We just talked about life processes and the 5 life processes. We're going to move on today and talk about behaviors of organisms. And just a couple, this is a relatively short lesson. Your warm-up question was, what are the life processes from yesterday? You didn't have to write them in sentences, you just needed to list them. If you wrote, what are the life processes, you should have had ingestion, to eat; digestion, to break down food; respiration is to use oxygen to burn the food; transport is to transport food, oxygen, waste throughout the body; and to get rid of waste, we call that excretion. So hopefully you had all of those correct on your question. How do organisms respond? All living things respond to their environment. A stimulus is anything that causes a reaction in an organism. The response is what reaction you make to a stimulus. It was hot out, therefore I sweat. So the stimulus is the heat, the reaction is the sweating. It can be as easy as my dog could smell the hamburger and therefore started to drool. The smell of the hamburger was the stimulus, the drooling was the response. The way an organism responds to many stimuli is called behavior. Behaviors can be instinct or behaviors can be learned. One of the first instincts they look for in a human, when the baby is born, the doctors want to hear the baby cry. Crying is genetic. It is in your DNA. We know to cry from the moment we're born. Nobody has to teach you that. But doing a division problem is a learned behavior. Learning to walk is a learned behavior. But many behaviors are instincts. Like if you put your hand on a hot surface and pull away, that's an instinct. An instinct is a behavior that the organism is born with. Some animal behaviors are for survival. A really good example this time of year, migration, when animals move from a feeding area to a breeding area usually. Common in this area, we have migrations of birds of prey like hawks and eagles will migrate. And one of the prettiest migrations you'll see, monarch butterflies. Monarch butterflies migrate from the north, where we live, to an area in Mexico every year. In the spring, new monarch butterflies migrate from Mexico back to where we are. But they never get to see where they're going. So there's an instinct that tells them when to migrate and where to go. Hibernation is a deep sleep. We always talk about bears hibernating in the winter. Bears don't go into a full hibernation because bears will wake up, but things like chipmunks and stuff like that tend to go into a full-blown hibernation. Skunks tend to hibernate some. That's a picture there of the monarch butterfly. Make sure you guys are watching your little videos. Okay, here is our check. List 2 examples of a stimulus and response. Label them as to what is your stimulus and what is your response. Pause this video now. Give yourself some time to write out your examples. All right, did you write some examples? Let me show you one that I came up with. My stimulus was the T-Rex trying to eat you, and your response was you running for your life. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back again soon. Until then, make sure you get your work done and be safe. Thank you. This is Mr. Hescox.